Let's have a little chat, shall we? Okay. So earlier, a activist that I've been following for years that I have a lot of respect for, Diaz Love, made a reel where it was a call out to the creators who maybe are not elevating the Gerard J. Jackson story, but are continually focusing on Nolan Wells and how these things happened basically in the same week. And both are very important, especially to us advocates who are trying to support Black Lives Matter, because in the midst of everything we're doing as anti-fascists, that is one of the biggest thing, is that we're losing Black and brown lives. And this is not like this is like insane how frequently it's happening. Like, the pattern is undeniable, but we need to make sure that we're elevating all of the names. Just like when what happened with George Floyd happened, we still talked about Breonna Taylor. You know, we have to always be remembering that everybody needs to have just as much focus and awareness on all of the victims that are having these things happen. And that means MMIW, and that means our missing, murdered, indigenous, Black, our Latino, all of our brown and Black people that are under assault right now in this country. They need us to constantly be elevating their names and their stories. That's the bottom line. But there's this thing that happens, I think, especially like, I'll admit, Diaz does not, there's no bullshit. Diaz calls it like they see it and always has. That is one thing that many of us who have been doing this activism thing for quite a while, and I mean, the better half of a decade at this point, can tell you about Diaz Love. And they have every right to feel the way they do and to come across they do, because of the severity and the sincerity that I think a lot of people sometimes forget, especially when they get caught up in the offenses that they might find or the criticisms that they are having a hard time digesting. And let me elaborate a little. So Diaz actually said some things that were call outs to, hey, the creator, the influencer, the activist, the advocate community, all of us that are here using social media for any of those reasons, and said, hey, tag your favorite creators, tag everybody, let's bring awareness to this. And so hearing the call to action there, I was not offended by anything that I heard Diaz saying. I didn't take it as a personal attack or assault on myself, because I know that I've already been talking about Gerard J. Jackson, so it didn't apply to me. And I can see how some people would be offended, but there's no time or space for that. I mean, it's point blank. Let's bring it back full circle to what we tell men when they say, oh, but not all men. No, it's not like that. If it doesn't apply, let it fly. If the subject matter of what's being said in the video doesn't actually apply to you, like you're just coming into learning about something and you can see that the person's calling other people out and you've been tagged and you can see that the caption says tag your favorite creator, it more than likely isn't actually a target assault against you. It's more, hey, did you know about this? Listen to this, become aware of this, and possibly bring more awareness to it too. And it's really important, especially if we are white or white presenting like I am, and advocates and activists, that we don't take offense to seeing those things. And Diaz is the perfect person to be saying it because, again, white activist that, you know, you can see Diaz Love and see how they present and learn more about Diaz yourself. But that's the point. Like, there are things that are going to be bold and sometimes they come across hardcore and they can be cutting and edgy, but that's the facts about the truth. And truths are arrows. These are piercing arrows of truth. And instead of us getting offended, we need to step back and go, okay, well, I know that this part, what applies, and take what applies and get to action like the advocates that we should be in activism, and actually shed light on the awareness instead of looking at it like, oh, this is attack of me against me, and taking it personally. Because instead of actually taking the message from the situation that needs to be taken, that's when we're actually flipping the script. And that's what white saviorism and performative activism looks like to BIPOC people. And truly, that's because if you cannot sit with the discomfort and you cannot look at the situation and go, okay, how can we come together to change this without thinking like it's an attack on you just because the words used are, you know, tough and to the point, then you probably need to do some reflecting on what your purpose as an activist is and what you're doing to actually help combat fascism, to be anti racist, and to show up for the people that actually need us to be talking about them, like Nolan Wells, like Gerard J. Jackson. And I just wanted to leave everybody with that tonight.